All right, guys. So this is for early finishers for the animal vector art. So early finishers, you're going to try to color your animal vector art. Let me hide my little floating meeting controls real quick. Okay. So same as always, I like to work in an Essentials Classic workspace. Here's my line art. It's basically done. There's some little kind of pieces that are out and that I could probably clean up. You could choose to clean that up here, or you could clean it up in just a second when I show you what I show you. So let's pretend you're ready to color. I'm going to use my black arrow and grab everything. And if you zoom in, you'll notice this, and we saw this with the goldfish. If there's a blue line going through a shape like this, that means this is still a path. This is reading it as a stroke, but not a shape. What we want is we want everything to be read as a shape. So I have everything selected. I'm going to go to Object, Expand Appearance, or Expand, but Expand Appearance and Expand will do the same in this instance. So we're going to hit Expand Appearance. And notice how it just immediately, that blue line in the middle disappeared, and now there's blue lines on the outside. For only a few shapes, see how this shape still has a blue line? That means we need to hit it one more time, expand, and it's gonna have us ask this. We just click OK. And now see that last line that had the blue line in the middle went away. So awesome. So now all of these are shapes, which we can work with shapes. Now for cleanliness sake, and we learned about the Pathfinder tool before, I have these black strokes, and the blue shows us where the kind of edges of these shapes, sorry, they're shapes, not strokes, overlap. And I want this all to be like simplified. So that means I want all the black shapes to merge together. So I'm going to go to Window, Pathfinder, and then I'm just going to click Merge. And when I click that, you'll see the blue lines kind of disappear in the black areas. Perfect. And that just means it merged it all together. If I hit the skeletal mode, which is Control Y, it's Command Y on my computer, but I think it's Control Y on yours. See, this shows what these shapes are. So that's what we want. Awesome. So in theory, I'm ready to color, except for me, my lion has like a big open area over here. So what I want to do is I actually want to grab my pen tool, and I want to make sure I have no stroke, no fill. And I am going to click kind of at this far back edge of my lion, and I'm going to make an invisible line that curves back and connects the back part of the lion to the front. All right. So I made sure that they connected to the back line and the front line. And if I click my black arrow on off, notice you can't see it. But if we hit Control Y, you'll see in skeletal view, it does exist. And we do want this because otherwise I couldn't really drop in a color here, because the computer would be like, hey, what, you're not, there's nothing there. There's like a big gap, but now there's no gap. So we're good. Next thing you can do is, because these are all shapes, you can go in and erase any bits you don't like. So like down here, there's some ugly bits. I can click my eraser and double click on it, on the eraser icon, to make it smaller. Because my eraser was way too big. Yeah, it's still too big. Okay. And I can just click and kind of click. So I got to make that smaller to clean up any bits that kind of I didn't notice before. So I can just clean that up. There you go. And I'm also going to want, for this coloring portion to work, I need to make sure anything that I would want to be a different color is enclosed. So imagine if I was dropping a bucket of red paint for some reason in this bottom beard area, the paint will seep out anywhere there's a gap. So there's no gap except over here. The potential red paint I drop in this area will seep out. So I need to just kind of drag these points over, and oops, accidentally grabbed that far point. And I'm just doing this. As long as it's starting to overlap with another point, it'll work. When we do the paint bucket tool, it won't allow it to fall outside. So I think I also had some, yeah, the head up here has gaps. So I just need to connect those. And you probably should do this before you convert it to shape, but it doesn't really matter. I think that's it. I think that's pretty good. So now we're gonna grab everything. So that's my black selection arrow, grab all of it, and I'm going to go to Object, Live Paint Make. What this essentially does is it's now turned our drawing into like a coloring page. So, and I would probably do this beforehand if I, just because I like making a color palette beforehand so that you kind of have an idea of what you're going for. Which my reference photo was like just this black and white image, so it wasn't really useful. So I'm just going to come up with some browns and golds, and I'm just going to kind of wing it. Hopefully whatever photo you chose kind of gives you a better idea in terms of what colors you should use, but mine does not. That's fine for now. That's a good starting point. So as we did with the fish, if I click I, that's my eyedropper tool. I can pick up a color on the canvas. I'm going to pick up like this tan. And if I hit K, that's our paint bucket tool. Now, because we turned the lion into a coloring page, if I ghost my paint bucket tool over her, there we go. Basically, it will highlight in red the areas you can fill. So if I click, there we go. It immediately filled her up with that tan color. And it's exactly what, if you guys ever played a coloring page when you were younger on like your parents' computers, it's basically that. So I might make a little lighter tan. I'm already going against the color palette thing I decided. So boo-hoo to me, but I already went against it. That's fine. It was just a starting point anyway. Whoopsies. You could also color the line art if you wanted. I just accidentally clicked it. So if you want to do that, you can, because the line art is a shape. I'm not gonna though right now. Oh, there we go. Okay. If you click and drag, you can color multiple areas at one time. So I'm just going through and coloring. It's kind of like the creepy black area under her eye. Let's do like this yellow for her eye color. Yeah. And then I'll just kind of throw in like a little pinky color for her nose. There we go. Okay. Now, let's say you wanted to add more color detail because like obviously she looks a little flat. You can with your pen tool, you can do a lot of things. With the pen tool, with no stroke, no fill, if I hit, and the easiest way I think to do it is to go Control Y into skeletal mode. I can go in and basically kind of cut off areas. So these are invisible lines I'm adding, and you can only really see them if you're in skeletal mode. So if I hit Control Y out of skeletal mode and click off, they're not there. But essentially what I want to do is I want to add more, like more colors. So that means I need to make more enclosed shapes that the computer can kind of sense, and so that it can fill in. So that means I might add kind of some more shadow areas potentially, like areas that I think I could drop in like a shadow. I noticed, yeah, what did I notice? I noticed something, I don't know. I'm just kind of, let's see how this goes. I'm gonna hit Control Y to get out. I don't see those, but if I drag my black arrow over everything, you'll notice at the top, there now is a Merge Live Paint button. That means the computer is detecting that you've added lines to the paint area. So you need to hit that and it'll add those lines. Sweet. Now I can grab my paint bucket and I will be able to fill in those areas that I just kind of cropped out. So you can kind of see here that this then gets kind of fun because you can start adding shadows, which you can choose to make a new layer to do this if you wanted. I do it this way because I'm lazy. So yeah, and I kind of chose, if you chose a more colorful animal, this might be a little easier to do. I chose a lion, which is colorful, but a little hard to do in Illustrator. So I'm kind of just I think I'm just giving her a little shadow now. She's got like a little shadow under her neck, which doesn't really have it in the picture, but I kind of like the idea of it. And I think I need to fix this part under her mouth because that looks like that should probably be black. There's a lot more white around her face. So what I could do is with no stroke, no fill, why don't I mark out the kind of white area that's supposed to be white, which I noticed is kind of enclosing her nose and kind of connects back down to her muzzle. So I'm hit Control Y to get out of that. Grab her again. I have to grab her every time I add something and go merge live paint. Then let's grab a whitish color and go ahead and, okay, that looks way better. Yeah, adding that. She needed her little old lioness stuff. So this is again what I want you to try to do if you finish early. Go for it, add details. You can really kind of play around with this and add a lot of things. You can even, so we're on one layer right now. If I lock this layer and add a new one, I could add like highlights to her eyes, which is just like a fun detail, which highlights are always just kind of like little dots. We did them with the fish and they're really small, but I think they always just like add to a drawing or illustration. They just make them look super cute. So just that, look how cute that made her. And if I want to be extra cute, I can hit the little meatball on this layer, which I made these highlights, which grabs both of them, and I can go to opacity and I could set them to like overlay or screen, which just means that they're going to affect the layers below a little differently. So it's just a cool thing to do. Okay, that's early finisher, how to kind of set up and color your line art. Go ahead and go for it.